Howdy folks, WindyCityThetanWatch. We're back. I was in vertical for the first 15 minutes and I'm really just trying to get more exposure. I am being deplatformed by some of the people in the community because of personality issues, not because of Scientology. And that's, I despise that. Hey Nance, thank you for coming back. All right folks, I understand that it's much nicer to see this. I wonder if I can just do, if I do videos or clips in vertical mode that'll be a little bit longer, like if I can do it, because a short itself has to be less than a minute. Hey Twyla, welcome back. Hey Anna, thanks for coming back. Thanks for the donation. I'm going to say this week or last week. Again, I'm out here enough that it really blurs together which days people are in here. Nancy, I'm going to go with you're saying yay because I came back, not because it's horizontal mode. Yeah, thanks MTK. And the idea of really like even 5 minutes, because sometimes something happens and it takes more than a minute for it to occur. It's funny, the lady that just walked to the south door, she always walks to the south door, but it's always locked. Yes, please hit that like button. So we've got some soccer fans or football fans. We've got about 15 more minutes of people coming back in. So I'm going to kind of stay here. Gotcha. And one of the things that I do want to say is that I've been extremely blessed by the audience and the community that we've been building up. My mods are very seldom stressed out about any kind of blow up or heat that's going on in the channel. That I think we've all had a very civil tone since the beginning, and I really appreciate that. In the history of this channel, there have been 2 bans. And by the way, it's stupid to say history, right? We've been here for 3.5 months. Oh, darn it. You know what? The other channel or the other chat had the GoFundMe link in there. Thank you very much, Pink, for showing that. So Indigo Twin, I have seen them put them on the counter at Dunkin' Donuts. So what they'll do is that the clerk at Dunkin' Donuts can't see what the customers can see. So like the back side of the register, they'll put flyers there. The day of Nance Drew's trial, I came here first, but I didn't go live. I just did a static recording because I didn't really want to tip my hand. And I also wanted to see if we could find Chadwick over here. And then I went and got a coffee. And when I went in to get the coffee, all right, so the folks are smoking down here. Let's go ask them what they know about the Church of Scientology. The other one is yesterday, they would pass them out to the vendors in the market. They were also passing them out to patrons of the market. So here's all of the Scientologists trying to tide off their cancer by smoking. They want to make sure they get their smoking up. So cockroaches don't like the light. They'll be inside in no time, right? Since we're here, I'll head all the way to the trash cans. Now, one thing that this just did is it alerted them I'm back in the alley. So they can probably send a router out the front. Again, he's probably on break for another 10 minutes, but see, watch, he held the door open with a little bit, so he's gonna kick the little door handle out of the way. Did you see him jump when he saw me? Hey, DJ, thank you for coming back. So the Scientology, boy, that is, they really have that chain tense today. Right? Yeah, so I can't even look in there. Debbie, thank you for coming back. Again, I wasn't singling you out. It was the only comment that I had seen. And I didn't make any mention of, I didn't say anything like, hey, let's get rid of these people. It was just, can we please not talk about that in here? And I will say that others were chastised in the time that you were away because others also had remarks. Debbie, somebody else said something even after you left. And I did call them out for not staying focused. So I will say that I've also learned a lesson about verticals. It makes it much more challenging on the mods. Hey, folks, I have no news on Tony or Natalie, but they're definitely in my thoughts. If you can, they need a lot of help, and if you're able to, financial support would be great. And they have a GoFundMe out there. Lady E's coming at you. By the way, folks, South Africa is one of the most challenging flights from North America because you're crossing a hemisphere east-west and you're crossing a hemisphere north-south. I understand that, Debbie. And again, it's fair. You know what I will say? You said something positive about somebody else. And I've always said that, hey, you can. I don't mind us saying positive stuff about other members. Does the church let you talk about the church? That is the definition of a cult, you know. Is it okay that this church doesn't let their female victims report crimes? Does the church let you talk about the church? Have you noticed how evil I am? Hey, MD Media. And I want to say, I want to thank Phil Jones for that question. That he had mentioned that, you know, I had always asked them, do you have anything positive to say about the church? Which, that's just an open-ended question. And maybe they do go to bed at night thinking, wow, do I have anything positive to say about the church? But when I ask them, will the church let you say anything about the church? Then they fall into that part of, when they fall asleep at night, are they starting to think, wow, why am I not allowed to think for myself? Why am I not allowed to say anything about this church? Welcome in, Nance. Wishing you all the best luck tomorrow. My hopeful outcome is we still won't see somebody and the judge will be exceedingly annoyed and just resolve the problem. Folks, Shannon had a great post either last night or this morning. I just saw it this morning. But so June 15th is a holiday, well, not a holiday. June 15th, they're going to celebrate Juneteenth here at the Chicago org. But June 15th is also the opening of the Ideal org in Battle Creek. And I actually think I'm going to go up there. Will the church let you say anything positive about the church? The church won't let you talk about the church? That's a cult, you know. Wait a second. What was I talking about just before the two people came in? How many times can I play the Tory card? Oh, I remember that I do want to see, you know, I've tried to, I don't have any contacts with Poe on the go, but I put an email out to him to say, hey, let's head up to Battle Creek because they're going to open up on June 15th, which is next, I think it's next Saturday, right? Yeah, next Saturday. It's going to be at 6 p.m. I think Michigan is in Eastern time zone, so it might be 5 Central. I'm really trying to figure out if I can get up there, and I think I will try to make sure that I can arrange everything that I can get up there. All right, we're in the last 5 minutes before they're all going to head back in. And unfortunately, I've been looking south a lot, so if he's gone out the north end, we're going to be in, well, I won't be able to really find him. Yeah, but I need to get Sir Crepidus. I don't think I have Sir Crepidus' contact either. And also, are there other Michigan or, you know, Indiana, Ohio people that we can make aware of this? Because I just saw that Shannon posted an image on her community tab, and it's funny. It had a URL that says go to ideal. What was it? GoIdeal.org. And if you go there, there's about 10 different orgs that are starting to open. There's a couple Scientologists coming up in the bottom of the street. There's about 10 different orgs that are starting to open. And then if you go to any of the org names, and by the way, they have code names for them. The Battle Creek one is something like enchantment. So Battle Creek is enchantment, and that's just so people can't, you know, try to guess what the URL would be to get over there. But even when you do that, all you can do is put in your name and phone number, so they're just collecting more information on you in that space. Thank you, Nance. I appreciate that. So one of the Scientologists has decided to go across the street. So, right, she's going to go down to the back alley or the back door. That's very interesting that you're so ashamed of your church you can't go in the front door. Yesterday, but it felt comical to me. Again, when I say it felt comical, I think nothing about Scientology is funny. I do think that the cat and mouse games that the body routers try to play with me, it makes me giggle inside. Will the church let you talk about the church? You know, that's the definition of a cult, right? So at one point, yeah, I'll reenact this for you. And I'm not going to give you Natalie voices when I reenact this. So right here on the other side of the pole, he was standing here and he had flyers, but he couldn't see me because the pole was between us. And then he was trying to pass them out to people and nobody would take them. And then I stepped out and he just looked and he nodded his head and he goes, oh man. And then he walked back to the org, which was awesome. And then about 30 minutes later, I caught him again. He kept on trying to get out of the org and I can usually track him down pretty well. And he ran down this street to Dearborn and he ran into a bakery and he thought that he would hide in that bakery. Up. Here's Chadwick's walking partner. The old backdoor friends are the best friends, right? Yeah, that Nancy, there are two things that are incredibly troubling. The idea that they flaunt the laws and they let's see here, they entangle the laws, they manipulate the laws to say things that they don't really mean, and then they get the police on board with that, and then they get the prosecutors on board with that. Now I understand that they're all basically on the same side of the law, but that's very odd. This one I'm really trying to cultivate a better relationship with. She'll say hi to me. So I usually don't pressure her, and I don't, the older females, I usually don't pressure. I have not seen Chadwick today. Sorry, Chad Olson today. He's also a Chadwick. We haven't seen Chadwick Burke since a week or 10 days before the first court appearance. Howdy, Snotface. Yeah, what's incredibly ugly, disturbing, however you want to say it, um, lawyers, whether you're a defense lawyer or a prosecuting lawyer, you all went to law school and you have a fraternity. Judges also came up through the law system, so they can talk their own speak. And there are politics and there are good old boys rules in regards to what's going on here. So it was really troubling to me when Juanita came out after the first court appearance and said that Joe went up to the state's attorney and made a reference something like, oh, but you've got to understand, they're out there protesting our church all the time. And I really want to get in front of that state's attorney and say, and that church covers up crimes and doesn't let victims report crimes to you, which I feel you'd be really upset about that. I can't understand how you're okay with an organization that supports child trafficking. I can't understand how you're okay with an organization that supports any kind of human trafficking, child abuse, elder abuse. Here comes another one of the younger guys coming in. We'll see what his stance on if the church lets him talk about the church. Will Scientology let you talk about your church? If you can't talk about it, it's probably a cult, just so you're clear. Folks, I don't know if you saw on camera, but the couple that was walking just in front of that person, one of the biggest reasons that I make these outlandish statements, which by the way, they're not outlandish statements, but these statements that they have impact, is that when a human being walks by and hears a statement like that, they're like, what the hell is going on inside there, right? One of the problems, yeah, I agree that judges and lawyers should be non-biased. I like the military better is that almost on every case, they pick whether or not you're on offense or defense. So you're not a lifelong offensive guy and you're not a lifelong defensive guy. And I just recognized, again, that I use male pronouns a lot. I do not mean anything by that. It's just the way that I am. Hey, show of hands, who thinks I could sit on that step right there? All right. At this point, I want to see, we're at 105. They're going to start trying to get the body router out here. So I want to take my position up at the top of the alley, or the top of the street, so I can move back and forth between the alley and the street. Snotface, I'm a little bit worried about the idea that I may have gotten a warning once because the police have told me I can't walk beyond that line, but I don't know that that actually qualifies as a warning because I think you actually have to have done it. And also I think that somebody from the church has to do it. I don't think that the police third party can give you a proactive. Remember the Scientologist that walked away from me at the bottom of the street? She's behind the bus stop right now. So she, minutes ago, right, we were down at the other end of the street, and at the street corner, I asked that young lady who had her back to us if the church would let her talk about the church, and she said no. And then she walked all the way around the block, and she is right now standing behind, I'm waving to her, she's standing behind the bus stop. That, I'm gonna tell you, it feels like a superpower that you're able to do this. I know. I know, Snotface. It is fun, and again, it's their property, so they get to choose who they want to trespass or not trespass. But there are plenty of people that actually sit on that stoop and have no issues at all. I just don't happen to be one of them. Now she's moving up the street more. You can see her crossing the intersection in the black suit. I just think it's funny that I have an anti-magnetic power that disallows them from coming near me. Yes. Exactly, Lori. %, that there are people that if I see them stop or I see them question, like I typically don't stop somebody who is walking directly past the org, but if somebody stops and looks at one of the protester signs, or if somebody stops and looks up at the sign of Scientology, I'll usually ask them, hey, do you know what they do in there? And that information is powerful, right? And they do probably live in the neighborhood. The vast majority of people that walk past here are within walking distance of here, or they work within walking distance of here. So when they hear that kind of information, they're out at the bar with a friend, they're having dinner with another friend, they're going to the beach with another friend. They're going to share that information. Howdy, Kenny. That looks like a new name to me, and if it's not, I apologize, but welcome in. So we are in Chicago at the Scientology org. It is just now past lunch. So there was the number of people that were leaving the org and coming back to the org for their lunch break. We were able to confront many of them. None of them attempted to confront and shatter any of the questions we had. Nobody had any answers to any questions that we had. Nobody wanted to even speak up about any questions that we had. I haven't seen the body router yet. So a Scientologist just walked out, but she's now going straight into Paisans. And there's another one. I know that when you're on this aspect ratio, you can't see that far down. There's another Scientologist walking towards us going into the org. It's usually about this time that they'll try and send the body routers out, right? You just got back from lunch break. Now go do your job. And oftentimes their job is to go out and pass out some kind of propaganda. Now remember, I think that we've seen 5 different kinds of propaganda. We've seen several versions of the Dianetics. We've seen the personality test. We've seen the way to happiness. We've seen human rights. And we've seen drugs. Now, I only have the Spanish-speaking drugs flyer. I was not able to capture an English-speaking drugs flyer that day. Absolutely. Let's keep Natalie and Tony in our hearts and minds. I have the impression that she's got plenty of family around her, and her closest friends are definitely coming to support her right now. She doesn't need as much contact from us right now, but definitely sending her love. If you've got her email, just send her an email. Just say, I love you. No need to respond, right? Don't make her feel obliged to respond to you, but let her know that we're thinking about her. Natalie at Life After a Cult, I'm pretty sure is her email address. Snotface, I just scrolled up, 100% agree with you. I understand that I got the snarkiness or the sarcasm. And again, I do think that there should be humor in what we're doing, right? That we have to be out here every day educating people about some of the worst crimes, right? That the church is even really implicated in many losses of life, but the abuses and the trafficking are ridiculous, and especially when you think about these victims, how unprepared they are when Scientology contacts them, right? These are people that are just the ideal target for Scientology. It was strange. I just saw... Yeah, I'm so hopeful that it is just some effect of a recent change of course of medicine. Yeah. Howdy, Mama Opal. We saw the body router in the church. We haven't seen him attempt to come out yet. Oh, I don't need to have you guys look at the fence as I walk past it. One of the things that you'll notice about the flyer for Grand Rapids next week, so Grand Rapids is opening on June 15th, is that it's being led by Joe Cicala, Joe Cicala Jr., who is the lawyer that represented Chadwick against Nance. And most likely he'll be the one that's in court tomorrow as well. He is the father of the executive director of this organization. His sons and his daughters work for this organization. His daughter-in-law works for this organization. Many of the staff members work for this organization. I have a post on my website, WCTW.live, and if you look at the blogs, one of them is the Chicago staff. And you're going to notice so many of them are Dream Exchange and Scientologists. They gave him an interesting title, and I don't know that it's a new title, but Joe Cicala is what they call a civilization builder. And the first thing I thought about is like, is this a role-playing game where we just have to keep on paying money to win all of the battles, right? So if you think about World of Warcraft or Rise of Empires, all of those. You get in there real cheap at the beginning, like the first 3 levels are free, and then all of a sudden the prices just escalate like crazy. Hey, mods, I'm okay if we post a link to the community tab there, and I don't think it's got any words that are in violation on the community tab. You know, what's even scarier, I looked at Joe Cicala's email address that is registered with the bar here in Illinois, and the name of the law firm is Kretschmer Cicala Law. Well, I'm sorry, the name of the email address, so the domain is Kretschmer Cicala law.com. Now, what you might not remember is I also did the stream and the blog on how the fundraising first started here in Chicago. So back in 2005, Randy Kretschmer, who is a very wealthy attorney, and he's one of those attorneys that fights against psychiatrists being able to give meds to people, and he also fights against 5150s, but he is a typical human rights lawyer from Scientology's version of human rights. He is anti-psychiatrist. And if you go back to the blog post, you'll see that he and his wife, and I can't remember his wife's name right now, but his wife was the chief marketing officer for Leo Burnett. And if you know anything about Leo Burnett is one of the biggest advertising firms. They're both here in Chicago. I don't know if they still exist, but they were here in Chicago as well as New York. And you can just think about them as the original Mad Men. Oh, sorry, Nancy, it's not on mine. Sorry. It's on Chicago Scientology audits. And I don't like taking other people's content. So if you go to that, you'll see that she's got on her community post, the invitation to the June 15th Ideal Org opening. A little bit surprised. We're 15 minutes past the hour, and I haven't seen anybody. Just for fun, I'm going to go over to Dearborn to see if he slipped out. Folks, if you're new to the channel, the way this works is, right, we're on the north side. The street here on the north of Clark is Harrison, and on the south of Clark is Pope. And then as we start moving towards the lake, I'm facing the lake right now, you're looking at the lake. As we start going towards the lake, the major streets are Dearborn. There's an alley street in between the two. And then after that is State Street, with an alley street in between the two of those as well. When I first got here, I was able to get the blinds closed. We did see an awful lot of people in their cafeteria. I think we counted 8 or 9 people there. Remember, this is foundation staff. So you've got day org and foundation org. Foundation org is nights and weekends. It is very, very possible that the blonde lady and the dark-haired lady are already out Yesterday, I caught them with their Way to Happiness outfits on, and they had duffel bags. There was a very large black male with them. But it was very funny. She was very defiant, and she would say, don't follow me, don't follow me. And the other man was just like, what's going on here? He didn't really understand what was going on here. So two things. We've seen this before. He absolutely did not come to the aid of his partner. And then the other one is he just looked underwhelmed or untooled or unable to understand what was going on. As we come down the street here, we'll go past the Dearborn Park, or the Printers Row Park here on Dearborn Street. This is where that festival was going on yesterday. They have a farmer's market every Saturday. I was able, Jen, you do need to come to Chicago. I was able to collect 3 or 4 flyers yesterday for Way to Happiness. When I first got here, there was a Scientologist, but she was here as a customer, I would say. She had a bag of chips. She didn't have any flyers in her hand. She didn't have a satchel on. So in this little park is where we saw the festival. And I'm just not seeing any Scientologists down here. Now, it's very warm out here and there's a strong sun. I do feel very poorly for the Scientologists that have to body route in this kind of weather, because they're wearing, dark pants and maybe a white shirt, but either the blue and gold vest on top or a sports coat on top. They have planes that come to Chicago and that leave Chicago. So visiting is also allowable. Something that's going on today, and I think it's significant, so Blues Fest was this weekend. If you were watching Corn Freak, she was protesting yesterday, but then afterwards, she was out here, excuse me. Afterwards, she went over to the Blues Fest. Chicago is a mecca for blues. Tonight will be one of Buddy Guy's last performances. Now, again, it's going to be hard to get to. It's going to be hard to get to Chicago quickly, but yes, Chicago is not a cult. You're allowed to come and go as you please. When we ask the Scientologists these questions, which I know they're not going to answer me, but it's the thought that every night before they go to bed, and I'll ask, do you also see this? Before you go to bed, there's that time before your brain shuts off and you start thinking about things. That's what I'm hoping happens, right? Is that there's that time when their brain is a little bit vulnerable and they might think about these kinds of things. Yeah, the entire way across country, it's a tough one, right? That's usually 6 hours. Not a big fan of that. Sorry, I'm looking down here just to see if I can see any activity, and there's nothing that really I can see going on down there. But that's Grant Park at the end of this street. Yes, Disney might actually be a cult. Thank you, Fuzzy Pink. So Friday, we finished off the 606 trail. The 606 is an old rail system of 3 miles in length that it was decommissioned as a railway, and the Chicago Park District chose to put a path up there. So there is a long path for 3 miles at about 1800 North, and it goes from Ashland Avenue all the way to Hamlin. Except for the costumes, don't they wear the same, like the people that dress up at the executives at Disney inside the park, they seem to have the Scientology uniform, or Scientology has the Disney uniform. So a tough one here is I was never a roller coaster guy. I never liked the let's go upside down and spin in circles. Now, Epcot Center, when it opened, it appealed to me because they had beers from around the world. And I am a fan of barley soda. So Indigo, are you afraid of Scientology suing you right now, or are you afraid of Disney suing you right now? That is true, but they're both based in Fantasia. I will say that everybody that I know as a child that went there, it's a thing that they remember for life. And I've got friends in my social group that it's an annual trip, and they're mid-50s in age. Howdy, Louis. Louis, thank you for being here. We haven't really seen much action. We were able to close the doors. We were able to ask the Scientologist returning from lunch a few of the questions. I did put in Phil Jones's new question of, does the church let you talk about the church? Nobody has responded. We were able to confront a couple of publics walking in. Usually with a public, and especially if there's a female, I'll talk about the idea that they don't allow victims to report sexual abuses against them if committed by a member of this church. Which oftentimes, I can't understand how somebody can hear that and not immediately turn around and say, well, I don't want to be in here. So here we've got a Scientologist, right, doing the phone tech, walking into the org real quick. Still trying to figure out how they're going to try to get their body router out. If you weren't here yesterday, we had a lot of fun. Oh, awesome. I found him. I'm going to kind of hide here a little bit. So he's at the corner up here. He's waiting for the light to change. I just want to see if he'll cross. He's like behind the light pole, and if we're looking up the street, he's on the opposite side of the street. So yesterday, the person that we're about to see, he tried to outrun me, and he ran around a corner, and then he ducked into a bakery. But I saw him in the bakery, and I was able to kind of confront him there. And there were two people. They have an open window at that bakery, and there were two people working on the computer at the front of the bakery. And I waved to the body router, and the two people waved back at me, and I said, oh, I'm just here for the guy in black. He's from Scientology. They're a cult. He's passing out propaganda. And it's just great to be able to bust him that way so that I have to explain to neighborhood people what this cult is all about, or that there is a cult in their neighborhood. He just tried to hand one off. All right, he's not going to come across the street, so I'm going to push him back into the org. Today, I've got a ball cap on, so I might not be as obvious as the stupid bald guy. That's right, go home. Again, I don't know if on this camera you saw it, but he smiled when I pointed my arm back towards the org, and he smiled. All the way back to the org. No cult propaganda today.
Like the Scientology.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm an Australian Shepherd. Yesterday, he tried. Yes, absolutely, James. Now, I'm not going to say because of little David, because in reality, L. Ron Hubbard is the one that was usurping the military, right? Stealing the valor from the military and usurping all their terminology and their jargon. Yep. He'll oftentimes look back just to see, oh, is he coming all the way down? When he goes in, he's probably going to try and go out the back door. Excellent, Snotface. So he did go back in. One of the things that I like is that I have to play zone on these people. Folks, I've said this before. I would really love it if anybody near Chicago could come out and help. And you don't even have to stream. Having a camera is better. Having a friend with you is better. But you don't even have to stream. All you have to do is hold up a phone to them, and they think that we're being never in. But I saw that you captured propaganda. I don't know what they tell them about me that's different than what they tell them about you, Juanita, Korn, Nance Drew. Now, it is, what are they, darn it, if I was a Jedi, is it midichlorian? Whatever the thing is that's inside Jedis that makes them awesome. By the way, I don't believe in Jedis either, but. So, is Davey the one that put ranks on it? Yeah, midichlorians or midichlorians, yeah. All right, I hope I don't get deplatformed for that now. For all you Jedis out there, I love you. And I'll ask you the same thing that Phil Jones asked him. Prove to me your perfect recall, and I'll believe you're clear. Hey, folks, I want to make sure that we're supporting Nance and Tony today, and if you've got any funds at all, it would be most appreciated for them. They're both going through a very tough time. I also want to say that, hey, Nance Drew is looking for help as well, and I'm not trying to prioritize money or anything of that nature. I just want to say that I really, really want to make sure that both of them are able to take care of what's going on. Snotface, I will let you know that my family comes from Sweden. So I do identify as a Viking. That is awesome. What I really, again, it's not nice to joke about this, but when I was standing across the street from him, I just raised my left arm and pointed down the street to the org, and he turned and went back to the org, right? Oh, so it was not as common for a staff member as opposed to a, Sea Org was always military dress, but staff maybe not so much. Hey folks, I want to remind everybody that I had a confession at the top of the first stream. I'm here to protest Scientology today. If you're with me on that goal, I really want you to be with me. I don't want to hear about the personalities. Those are things that should be taken care of in private. Phil, I did not see, I know he streamed yesterday, and I want to see that one really bad. Thank you, no one. So Skinner's statement, right, is much more correct, right? The idea that these staff members now wearing whether it's the airline steward uniform or the theater usher uniform, that's more of a Davey Miscavige thing. And I didn't realize that Davey hated Davey so much, so now I never want to say D-A-V-I-D anymore. I just want to say Davey. Howdy, Thaddeus. So my wife is a polyglot, and it annoys the daylights out of me because no matter where we are, she can talk with locals behind my back. And I can just tell that all the locals are snickering at me when she talks to them. Folks, if you get a chance to, after the live, please look at one of my videos, and I think I called it Darth Vader, but it was kind of a remix of that car commercial. I think it was a Volkswagen car commercial where the little child is trying to be Darth Vader and use the Force to make things happen. And eventually he's able to make the car start. But he does so many of those poses to kind of try to force the Force. And one day I was out here, and this body router tried to come down the alley 3 or 4 times, and every time he would end up seeing me. So what had happened is he'd walk back if I looked like this, and then I'd walk over here so he couldn't see me anymore, and I'd count to 10, and I'd come out. And the sorry about that. I'm trying to kind of catch up with the chat there. He would keep on just putting his head down every time I saw him. But every time he'd turn around, he'd just walk right back into me. And he tried to get the guards to watch out for me, and the guards couldn't do it. So the guards would say, it's clear now, come on out. And as soon as they come out, I'd be right there, and they'd walk right into me. It was one of my favorite videos. Now, I can't monetize it because it's got the Darth Vader or the John Williams music in it from Star Wars, but that is funny too, the peekaboo. So today, if you roll back, right? So this street is really 2 blocks long, right? So the street that I'm at right here is 600. So Harrison is 600. Polk is 800. There is no 700th Street in this block. So this is a 2-block long street or segment of street, right? At the very bottom of this, I caught up with a Scientologist who was walking up this street, and she immediately turned around and went to the corner. And when I got to the corner, I talked to her from behind. Our body router's on the other side of the street. See him coming up by the bar? That I asked her, will the church let you talk about Scientology? And she walked away from me, and she walked all the way around that block, and she came over here. And then when she saw me come up to this side, she hid behind that bus stop so that I couldn't see her. And it was just funny. I've got the light now, so I'll go across, but he's going to probably turn around now that I'm coming up here. So the body router is coming back out here. That's the thing, is that I don't think the body router can watch what I'm doing. But OSA or DSA now where do you go, right? Can you see his reaction on the camera? Like, did you see when he finally realized I was in front of him? Now, the downside of where he's at right now is that there's a parking lot that goes L-shaped around this bank. So there's a bank right here. Remember, the bank, the alley behind this is allegedly private property, but I think that it's got a public easement, so it can't be private property. Well, it can be private property, but it's got an easement, so you can't keep people off of it. Now, one thing he can do is, in that alley, he can get behind the imprint building and he can walk all the way down, but he didn't. It's the cult of Scientology. That's Scientology. They're a human trafficking cult. So they won't tell you, but it's Scientology. So Danny Masterson, he raped 3 women. The 3 women couldn't come forward to the police. The church stopped him from coming forward. Look up Lisa McPherson, look up Danny Masterson, look up any human trafficking, look up the Sea Org. You'll find that it's just a human trafficking cult. If you go in there, they'll give you a personality test. They'll say, oh, we found this little thing wrong with you. If you read this book, it'll fix it. That book costs money. Then when you get fixed by that money, they'll give you the next one. I'm doing something legal. It's my First Amendment right to discuss what's going on here. And he has the right to give you that. I just want to let you know that it's a very dangerous cult that they're mounted. Do you want that?
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Got him. He had his phone face me, and I don't know if he's calling the police or if he's calling the org. I want to give him a little bit of space. So look at this. This guy's in his phone looking up Danny Masterson and Lisa McPherson. Now, folks, when you ask me, do I care about these personality wars that are going on, or do I care about Scientology? This is why I'm out here. That education of that person is why I'm out here. I just saved one person. That's it, right? Just one person. But maybe it's his family that now knows that. In certain situations, there'll be other people behind me. Why are you walking backwards? Why are you walking backwards? Why are you walking backwards? I'm saying, why are you walking backwards, so that as he's recording this, when he shows the police, he'll have to show that. I am merely collecting their cultish propaganda. Why are you walking backwards, making it look as though I'm following you? Do you have a reactive mind? Are you still mocking your reactive mind? Did you know that Xenu rounded up all of the ancient Thetans in the galaxy, and he brought them to Earth to throw them into the volcanoes, and then throw the hydrogen bombs in there? One of the things you'll notice is that I never approach them. They always approach me. Yesterday, the blonde female, she was actually doing the assaultive action. She would walk towards me and yell at me, and I would just yell onto her phone, "Please do not come any closer. I will defend myself." This is the first time that this body router has stayed and listened to what I said to the victim. I agree. Hey, Carrie Ann. 100%. And one of the things, so I do have a body camera on. I don't think that I mentioned that, but I always have a body camera on when I'm out here. And I really never let them get close to me. I saw their tactics, right? This tactic, the opening. Oh no, Nora has mentioned it. He was talking in Spanish, so I don't know if he's talking to the police or who he's talking to. I still feel very comfortable and confident that I've done nothing illegal. They 100% did, but that's fine. Explain to me the facts that I missed. That's one of the things that's great about the defamation code, is that the truth is a substantial defense to defamation. He definitely was. Twice they've called the police on me, or not, they've called the police over on me. So as we've been walking, they will see a policeman. So the one day, Chadwick and this guy told the police, "Hey, this guy's following me. I don't know why." And I explained to the police, because they're handing out propaganda. And I give them their First Amendment right to hand out their cultic propaganda. And I have my First Amendment right to tell them what they're receiving. And the cop looked at me and he said, "Yep." He basically told them to pound sand. So he's about to go across the street. Hey, Jen, if you're still in, can you add a word to the ignore list, please? And any three-letter names that you can think of that I might be concerned about. All right, he's going south. Nance Drew, are you in here? Oh, sorry. When he gets to the corner, he'll probably run. So normally he'll start running, so I'm just going to run now. I just have to make up the room because he had quite a good head start on me. Yeah, he ran to the next street and turned around the corner. He went down Federal Street, and then he's going to try and get to the park. Yeah, he's still on this side. He just ran across the street into the park. Oh, sorry, Nance. Is there a police line that's Spanish speaking? Because I'm trying to figure out who he called. Because he was speaking Spanish when I was there confronting with him. He might have doubled back on me. Let me go up there. It's still better to keep him towards the org. Sorry, I'm just kind of scanning around here to see where he might be. Cool, okay, that makes sense. Now, what was happening is he was also filming me, so I don't know. Yeah. So, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah, how you doing?
You see anybody coming around with this?
Yeah.
It's a cult.
It's a what?
It's a cult.
It's a cult?
Cult. Scientology. It's that building over on Clark Street.
Okay, what they do there?
They'll bring you in. They'll give you a personality test, and they'll say, "Hey, you seem to have this little thing wrong with you," and then they'll sell you a book. And then when you're done with that book, they'll put you on a course, and all this stuff costs money, and it keeps on going up. Now that's the money stuff they do. Then there's the idea that they do human trafficking. So if you notice, there's a lot of foreign speakers over there. They don't have their passports. They're stuck there. Child abuse. They'll put auditors. They have something like confession, but they'll put children in front of adults, and the adults can say the most perverse things. So that's why I say it's a cult.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Just be very careful. Never take this.
See, that's professional. Thank you for telling
Thank
me
you.
that. Because my guys don't know nothing about that, and I'm
All right.
being cyber attacked right now. I hear hostages screaming for their lives every day. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok.
Love it.
Start my Facebook account. Mayor Brandon Johnson is involved. I talked to him. I recorded my conversation with him.
Yep.
He told me he was well aware of hostages screaming. Congressman Danny Davis, I shook his hand.
Yeah.
I tried to find my friend Erica Jones in a shelter called the Shanty House that is funded by the Congressman Danny Davis. And they raping and killing kids right now. Every day, I said, why is this place open?
Yep.
You know, they raped my friend, the lady, the CEO, Regina Lewis, said she was in charge and She told her husband, Anthony Smith, that he can rape all the girls and women and men
That's a
in
shame.
the house.
Yep.
So, and this place is still open.
Yep.
And also, we have another place called Matthew House, which is...
I know Matthew House.
Yeah, it's terrible. Regina Lewis.
Okay.
Reverend Dr. Sandra Stinson. I used to work for her.
What was the name again?
Reverend Dr. Sandra Rickett Stinson.
Rickett
Is the CEO.
Okay.
Sandra
Cool.
Stinson.
I'll look that up
you
as
have
well.
Brian Stinson as well, which is the commander of some kind of force that used to be in the army. And
Okay.
he said he has 10,000 people under him, which he also has a bomb. And I've seen crooked funds being transmitted. We have a Sherry Allen that also told me something about $21 million, which I didn't know nothing about the funds, but she patted me down and threatened me.
That's illegal.
Another second
It's illegal search. Yeah.
Coming.
Yep.
You know, which my name is Messiah Johnson.
Nice.
You know, I thank God for my name.
Right.
And I am being spiritually attacked in certain ways. I have been attacked by shadows, had witnesses to verify it, told me before I could tell them.
No, I wish you the best, man.
Thank God.
Take care, Don.
Yeah,
be careful. Never take this.
Hey, thank you. You have
no problem.
anything? Because it gets deeper, man. We can say the word globally.
I hear it.
Thank you. I don't know if it's an MK Ultra attack. I don't know if it's a wave attack.
Okay.
I hear them, but I do hear them.
All right. Good to hear. I'm going to go that part of that conversation was productive. The other part of that conversation, I feel that we might need some more tinfoil. Now, I do think that he's still to my left. I'm sorry, to my right. So I still think that he's over by the org. There was I had a hard time hearing some of the words, and all I can think about right now is the airplane movie with Barbara Billingsley. Stewardess, I speak jive. All right, he might have gotten back to the org. I don't think he got past here. We might have a hard time catching up to him again. I do know, well, I don't know. I will say that my assumption is they are trying to record me, and they're going to put together, a collage of all the times that I've been seen following them. What they don't understand is that I've got video of all these times as well, and I've always stated explicitly what my objective is. And if they're back in the org with their flyers, don't care. If they're walking around without flyers, I don't care. You want to go to lunch? Go to lunch. You're a human being. I have nothing against you. Yeah, I think it's even worse than a dead agent pack. Now, it might be, so the dead agent pack would be internally to show their teams what kind of pressure they're under. Now, that's another funny thing. They can't really show that video internally, right? Because there's no way in the world they're going to let people know about Lisa McPherson or Danny Masterson, or the idea that you can't report a crime from if you're victimized by somebody in the cult. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all, Neverin. I do agree it's sad, but I'm going to say this, that I think that the Scientology protesters are going to survive. That, yeah, there's been a disruption. It's already obvious that the people that are here to protest against Scientology and try to take down this cult, they're going to stay here. Yeah, and I'm going to agree with that as well. And that's one of those things where I just really have to stay on the straight and narrow. Um, and not cross any lines. So folks, next week is the Ideal Org opening in Battle Creek, but it is also the Juneteenth celebration here. I'm gonna have to stop this because I think there's a fire truck coming down. Let's see if he just stops right there. He might just stop at the courthouse. How you doing, Cookie? Just to let you know, we've been collecting the propaganda. Oop, haha. This is the other. No, that looked like the Dianetics shirt at first. I thought the red was the Dianetics shirt. So, sorry. What I was saying is, right, you've got the Juneteenth celebration is going to be here in Chicago at the org. Both of these are going to be on June 15th. And then Grand Rapids is having their Ideal Org opening. What I want to know is, give me a 1 in the chat if I should stay in Chicago, and a 2 in the chat if I should go up and watch the opening of the Ideal Org. Oh, I'm sorry. While I was out playing, I didn't see this. Oh, Kirsten, thank you so much. Thank you for the generous super sticker. All right. And I think I'll have my drone. So while I might not be able to get good sound, and also I don't know if this is an org significant enough for Davey to come up to, but I should at least be able to get imagery of that. It's been an awesome month, no one. I really appreciate all of the help that you've given myself and Declared Dave and all the other channels. You and Patrick have been very, very helpful with the information that you've contributed. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this message. And again, it's one of the things that I'm trying to do. Declared Dave once told me that my channel seems so mission focused. And I took that as a compliment. And I do want to help inform the community, right? So we've always said that my main objective here is to stop recruiting here. I don't want them to recruit the next person. I don't want the people to go through the pain that the ex-Scientologists have gone through. I think that gets a little bit clouded because I think people don't understand that that doesn't mean when I have a chance to, I'm not going to try to talk to a Scientologist, that I'm not going to try and talk to the public, that's a public Scientologist or a staff Scientologist, and let them know some of the crimes that this church doesn't let them know is occurring, and try to help them understand some of L. Ron Hubbard's misused technology, right? I think it's a police car coming up. Two squad cars. I kind of want to just see where they headed to. So right now they're at Dearborn. I want to see if they take a left on Clark. No, they went through, so they're going past the metro station. Now I want to see if we can kind of catch up. When I was having the conversation with the interesting character in the park, lost focus and did lose track of the body router. He probably ran a couple of blocks. I love my city, right? There's the Windy Wanders the City channel, and it's more of a vlog. It should have the Dan Walks LA feel, but it's really meant for Chicagoans. And that intersects very well with what we're doing here, right? I don't want this cult to get a foothold in my city, or I want to prevent its foothold from growing. And while I have mentioned that in the past I've been a bull rider, I have aged out of that hobby. I believe at no point in the rest of my life will I ever be on top of a bull again. Here we've got the CTA Green Line heading north. I don't know if I'd kind of gone on with what I was talking about before, but I do try to put that bug in every one of the staff members' ears that is going to make them think twice, possibly, right? And I'm not confrontational when I don't yell at people when I'm trying to talk to them. And I'm not saying it's bad to yell at people. It's not my style. I will tell you that the people that yell and are aggressive have done an incredible amount of great work in bringing awareness to the org, right? Their passion is easy to see. It's easy to see how invested they are in what they're doing. I just have a different style, right? And with my style, I'll say that I think Trashy V12 does it even better, but I've been able to get a couple of conversations with people. So the older woman that we saw crossing the street earlier today, she's somebody who she'll at least be cordial, say hello, how are you today? She'll answer, how are you today? The older woman with the cane, and she stopped and we talked about her back pain and about whether or not she can use meds or bull riding. Yes. So I don't know, it might be 2 months ago now that I had the interview with Dave Knoll. Dave Knoll was a first generation. He is somebody who is, I think the video is listed as the most interesting man in the world. And Dave Knoll was all over South America when he was young. He had all kinds of interest. He had to run away from the mob when he was younger. His mom took his inheritance. He had a father-in-law that was just terrible. He went through a lot of abuses. He went to the military. When he finally left the military, he left in LA. And at that point, he was contacted by Scientology. And he joined Scientology. Now, he was only in for about 8 months, but he was in the cyber division. Darn it. Sin info or sec info, something of that nature. And again, as I always say, that he is the most interesting man in the world. I've had an interesting background myself. So if you saw me on Lisa's day off this morning, I had mentioned that a couple of years ago, I hiked from the Grand Canyon to Flagstaff, Arizona. That's about 100 miles through the desert. I've crossed the Grand Canyon from rim to rim to rim in less than 13 hours, solo. I've been to every state in the US. I've been on almost every gravel road in the lower 48. So Yeah, I am a Viking, but I'm going to say this. I've never been, not true. I've been to the Vasa Museum, which is in Stockholm, and it's where one of the galleons was built, but I've never been an actual Viking. We do room raids, but it's much more civil than I think the Vikings would have done. Thank you, Zeno. All right. I think we've had a solid 2 hours. We definitely interrupted the body router. He's either back at the org or he's gotten out past me. If we could develop a network of friends here in Chicago that could just let me know when they see any of these people out there, I can get down here pretty quickly. But we'll head back towards the org. 100%. I love this city. Got the Dearborn. This used to be a train station, but it's since been decommissioned as a train station. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I missed this. Hey, Susan, thank you for being here for a month. I think if you're on an iPhone, it's really hard to get to the membership link. I love that you guys are memberships, and it definitely shows me the support and the loyalty and the encouragement. I've always said that I have no desire to have anything like memberships only chats or delayed chats where members get to see something before subscribers do. We are going to run a discount on subscribers today. For the rest of the day, subscriptions will be free. Oops, sorry. So if you haven't yet subscribed, today will be a great day too. I am trying to battle some of the deplatforming that has occurred because of some of the behind-the-scenes strife. And it's disappointing that I'm being deplatformed based upon personality conflicts rather than the content of my channel. Yeah, he either got out on us or he went back to the org. But we still had I really enjoyed the day. Folks, thank you very much. Debbie P, if you're still here, really apologize for, again, singling you out. It wasn't really fair. It was just the only comment that I saw, and I just didn't want to have to deal with that. I want to be here to protest Scientology. And I would hope that over the hundreds of videos that I've put out, you'll all understand that I've been very much focused on that objective. Yeah. Yesterday, it was really fun after I was done protesting, I went and I had a snack with some of the Chicago protesters, and that's great. If I can ask one of the mods, hey Sarah, thank you very much. If I could ask one of the mods, if we've got any lives out there that we can go raid, I want to let you know what my philosophy on the raids is. And again, this is a philosophy informed by the mods and myself, that we want to help grow this pie. So we want to make the small channels grow, right? The big channels have enough attention. I don't mean to say that. The big channels don't need help from me, right? The small channels need whatever help they can get. And I want to make sure that everybody is getting a good foothold in this space. Thank you very much, Lavender. Thank you, Chris. Is it Chris? Is that the best way to say it? Thank you, Lavender. Excellent. Let's go back to Lisa's day off. Let them know Windy sent you. Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Thad. And thanks, Chris. All right, folks. Oh, the door's open. So I'm going to leave the camera on just until we walk past. We're coming up the street. So until we walk past the Scientology, I'll leave us open. But please, head over to Lisa's. And as soon as I pack all of my equipment away, I will meet you over in Lisa's room. So we're heading past, we're heading past the Paisans. Shades are still down, right? Why am I out here? Because this multi-$100 million building, which Joe Cicala spent a lot of money on, has zero retail presence. Scientologist walking in the subway so he doesn't have to come past me. Hey, Neuropsych, 100%. If you find a small channel, fall asleep to their playlist. All right. I will see you over in Lisa's day off.